CapEx is an expense when it's done that goes on your balance sheet. It's an improvement to the property, so it's a asset-based balance sheet item for accounting purposes. The repairs and maintenance are operating costs, but what about the reserve for capital expenditures? What about CapEx reserves? Where do you account for that on the P&L and balance sheet? So it is not an operating cost. The money that you set aside for reserves to make capital improvements in some point in the future is not an operating cost, but it does come out of the income for the property. So what usually happens is the brokers will not put the cost item on the P&L. Therefore, it increases the net operating income, which affects the value of the property. So you'll see that when you look at the offering memorandums, that a lot of times the capital reserve account is below the net operating income line item. I like to put it in the operating cost because even though it's not a cost to operate the property, it's a cost of ownership of the property. And you have to account for that cost every single month when it comes out of the income as an expense before you pay your debt service, because the lenders are going to require you to keep a reserve account. Appraisers are going to account for that when they're valuing the property. So be on the lookout for the capital reserve account line item. Like I said, a lot of the brokers will put that below the net operating income line so that it increases the net operating income, therefore it'll increase the price of the property. But I want to make sure that you account for that in your expenses, because the lenders are going to want to see you account for that in terms of the debt service coverage. They're going to want to make sure that that's taken into an account, and so are the appraisers. So capital expenses are a balance sheet item for accounting purposes, but the capital expense reserve that you take out monthly for capital expenditures, I'd like to see as part of the operating costs in the operating T12. So that is my take on capital expenses and capital reserves.